Dedicated, determined, dependable. This is News 10 ABC at 11.
Power belongs to the people.
Hands up!
Don't shoot. Black lives matter. These killer cops have got to go. No justice, no peace. Shut it down. No justice, no peace.
Albany protesters joined the nationwide outcry over the decision not to charge a white police officer for the death of a black man in New York City. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Elisa Streeter.
And I'm Mark Baker. That decision came down yesterday afternoon. About 24 hours later, a large group of demonstrators marched near downtown Albany.
They were peaceful, and they had one message, a call for change. News 10 ABC's Marty Casper was there. He joins us where it all began on Henry Johnson Boulevard. Marty.
Well, protesters of all shapes and sizes, colors and backgrounds came together as one voice they hope echoes in histories and brings justice for those oppressed. Is there justice?
Absolutely not.
This is history. This is our history as a country.
For rights and freedom.
No justice, no peace.
People locked arms, willing their hope for a better country towards anyone and everyone.
The people must stand and speak out.
Protesters gathered outside Albany Police Headquarters, then began marching and shutting down traffic. When protesters marched to the middle of Henry Johnson Boulevard and Livingston here in Albany, they actually laid down on the ground, blocking traffic so people hear their message.
No parent should ever have to see their kid not covered after being murdered for 4.5 hours on the street.
They then marched to Central Avenue, again shutting down traffic. Police letting them go where they please, making sure they're safe. The fight doesn't end today.
Oh no, the fight doesn't end today. It doesn't end tomorrow. It's not going to end next week. It's going to go on till justice is done.
For Abby Lubin, making sure her son grows up in a tolerant and fair world is paramount.
I'm going to tell him the truth. I'm going to make sure he knows how to carry himself in the world with both confidence and respect.
For most, it's a call to action that must be answered.
White people who are in positions of privilege and power, this is your opportunity to step up and do something.
Hey, hey. Ho, ho.
It's getting to a point where people are finger pointing at individuals and not really starting to understand it's a systematic issue that takes us all to dismantle.
It's a movement Deputy Chief Brandon Cox hopes continues.
It's not too late, so let's keep it going.
Hopeful everyone can work together for a brighter future where African Americans aren't and don't feel targeted by police.
If we work together, our goals can be met.
If you want to join the movement, tomorrow is your chance. Protesters plan to rally outside the U.S. Attorney's office in Albany. That office is at 445 Broadway. They plan to begin rallying at 3:30. So again, protesters will be outside the U.S. Attorney's office at 445 Broadway tomorrow, beginning at 3:30. Live outside police headquarters where the protest began and ended. I'm Marty Casper for News 10 ABC.
Thank you, Marty. Protesters in Columbia County chose to show their opinions by damaging billboards. Take a look. The billboards criticized police, saying they murdered Eric Garner. No word yet if anybody was arrested.
Well, of course, they've been protesting all around the nation. In Chicago, hundreds of demonstrators were blocked from marching to Soldier Field, where there's an NFL game tonight. Some blocked traffic on a freeway there. Then over in Boston, it has been something there tonight. Protesters during the Boston's annual, let's see if we can get that moving for you. There we go. During the annual tree lighting ceremony, they came by the thousands. You can see them marching in the street. They are still there marching. And then we want to move to Washington, D.C. And here we have what they are calling a die-in. Protesters holding the die-in in front of police cars. All of these protests peaceful, but the epicenter of these protests were, of course, in New York City.
I can't breathe!
The chants of Eric Garner's last words echoing through New York City.
I can't breathe.
Adding to the outrage still lingering after the decision in Ferguson. For many, reaffirming the belief that something has to change.
The grand jury systems on a state level are broken.
The specific issue that has to be addressed, making sure that people have confidence that police and law enforcement and prosecutors are serving everybody equally.
While the officer shown in this video bringing Garner to the ground back in July is suspended, the police union defends his actions.
We feel badly that there was a loss of life, but unfortunately, Mr. Garner made a choice that day to resist arrest.
Still, the NYPD are retraining all of its officers. They're starting to use body cameras. Yet today at the scene of the deadly confrontation in Staten Island, of course, Garner's mother was adamant that those changes are not happening soon enough. And now, if you'd like any more information on all of this, just stay with News 10 ABC. Just go to our website. We'll have the latest on the protests and the investigations. And if you're not near a TV, of course, that's where you can catch up on all the previous stories and keep tabs on what's going on right now.
New at 11, the school year isn't even half over yet, and parents in Schenectady are looking toward next fall and wondering where their kids will go to class. Officials narrowed down several redistricting options to one, but some parents worry the new plan could hurt their kids in the long run. News 10 ABC's Rachel Yonkuna spoke to those parents. She joins us live at Schenectady High School right now. Rachel?
Mark, the next step is bringing this plan before the Board of Education. They have the final say on all of this information, but if they don't have any recommendations, this plan that parents saw here tonight will go into effect in the fall of 2016. Janet Tracy has a kindergartner at Howe School in Schenectady. She tells me next year her soon-to-be first grader would attend Elmer. But now that the school district is rezoning neighborhoods, they are closing Elmer in 2016.
So what that means for our kindergartners is that they'll spend 1 year at Howell, they'll spend 1 year at Elmer, and then they'll be back at Howell for the second grade.
Tracy says that's too much back and forth for a 5-year-old, but it might be inevitable. In 2016, Schenectady will redistrict all of its schools. Director of the Planning and Accountability Board, Lori McKenna, presented her recommended outline to parents on Thursday night.
We looked at what was the best plan for all students in the city of Schenectady. We looked at balancing the demographics of our student population. We looked at socioeconomic status.
Some of the changes include shrinking Martin Luther King School to hold only grades K through 5. That means some students would then feed into Oneida Middle School for 6th through 8th. Like Abraham Checkel's daughter. Before redistricting, she would have been going to Central Park, where she was excited to learn French. But Checkel says she won't get that at Oneida, and he's worried the redistricting isn't balanced academically.
My concern was that they are looking at just balance in terms of number, and I was looking at the balance in terms of resources to make sure that all the students, no matter where they are, that they will have the same kind of resources.
McKenna says the board will vote on this plan in January, and she will address those concerns she heard from parents tonight. Now, if you want to see if any changes are coming to your neighborhood, the school district has posted this plan on their website. I provided a link to that information on news10.com. Live in Schenectady, I'm Rachel Yankunis, News 10 ABC.
Thank you very much, Rachel. New at 11, a military report has found that the incident that led to the death of Major General Harold Green in Afghanistan over the summer could not have been prevented. Green was a former Capital Region resident killed when an Afghan soldier opened fire at a training base he was visiting. According to the report, investigators could not link the shooter to any plan or terrorist groups and believe he acted on his own without warning. 18 others were injured in the shooting. Green, a graduate of Guilderland High School and RPI, is the most senior U.S. military member killed in combat since Vietnam.
To a story we've been dedicated to following, a Fulton County chimp named Tommy is not a person. Well, that's the ruling from an appellate court. The group Non-Human Rights Project went to court claiming Tommy should have the same rights as humans. It was part of an attempt to get him out of his current living conditions and into an animal sanctuary. However, the court ruled that chimps cannot bear any legal duties or have any social responsibilities and says that right there is enough to prove Tommy is not a person. Tommy's owner says he's pleased with the decision. The Non-Human Rights Project says that it will appeal. A couple of weeks ago, the snow was piled up in the Buffalo area. With the snow mostly gone, now the costs are beginning to pile up, even for local counties that pitched in to help. Montgomery County sent crews to help residents buried under 7 feet of snow, but that helping hand is going to cost taxpayers $45,000 for Montgomery County. Albany County sent 13 workers, and that bill will be close to $80 grand. Despite the money, officials say they were glad they could help. Well, it's time now for a check of the weather, and hopefully we're not going to need any help around here.
No, but it's certainly getting cold. Let's check in with Cap.
Well, that's the thing. It's cold, and we're not going to get a lot of snow with the storm coming in tomorrow night, but we may get some significant periods of sleet and freezing rain. So ice is always worse than snow when it comes to driving conditions, right? The cold air is coming in, as Mark mentioned, down to 28 here. But wait till I show you some of the temperatures in my long weather forecast. You're not going to believe. You know, some places right now are 30 degrees colder. That's crazy, isn't it? North wind at 5 miles per hour. Skies cleared out quickly tonight. Now, this cold, dry air is pushing this moisture out to sea, so that's not a problem. This is what we're watching out in the Midwest, out through Kansas and Oklahoma. You see a little swirl there? That's a storm tomorrow night, and there'll be cold air initially. That's why we're going to have to deal with a mix. All right, down to 20 in Albany tonight, 19 Kinderhook, mid-teens around Saratoga. But look at this. 14 at Glens Falls, 9 at North Creek, 2 for a low at Long Lake. A lot colder up in the Adirondacks tonight. Gloversville 16, 17 in Schoharie, 15 in Berlin, Pittsfield mid-teens, same thing North Adams, 14 at Bennington, and 13 at Rutland. All right, here's your bus stop forecast tomorrow morning. Cold, partly sunny. 16 to 21, obviously 5 to 8 degrees colder as you head up towards Lake George. Big spread in the temperatures tomorrow. And for the afternoon, for the trip home from school, mostly cloudy and dry, and temperatures in the mid-30s. We'll have much more on the mess tomorrow night and a storm threat for Tuesday. Later in the newscast, Lisa.
Thank you, Steve. Well, Albany's World War I hero is another step closer to a long-fought national recognition. The U.S. House passed the annual Defense Act today. A part of those bills giving Henry Johnson the Medal of Honor. The Defense Act is expected to be approved by the Senate next week, and then it will be signed into law by President Obama, who then has the authority to award the medal. Johnson's legend states that he nearly single-handedly fought off a German fighting unit to save a fellow soldier. Coming up on News 10 at 11, now the police are getting involved.
Bill Cosby may have more than just a dozen accusers to worry about. LA officers say they will investigate sexual assault claims.
Got the flu shot? Got the flu? There's a reason it may not protect you completely this year. Those stories and more are coming up on News 10 at 11.
You're watching Elisa Streeter, Mark Baker, Chief Meteorologist Steve Caparizzo, and Sports with Liana Bonavita. This is News 10 ABC at 11.
More bad news for comic legend Bill Cosby. The sexual assault allegations against him have yet to involve police, but tonight, Los Angeles police say they will investigate. The police chief says the department is ready to investigate accusations of sexual misconduct against Cosby. Chief Charlie Beck says they wouldn't turn away anyone, noting that the results of an official investigation could be used in civil proceedings.
Once a statute is expired, it's expired. Now, it could be used in civil recourse or a number of other things. You know, we would have to look at we would work with the victim's representatives to do the best we could for them.
Cosby has been accused of sexual assault by more than a dozen women.
Have you gotten your flu shot? According to the CDC, don't be surprised if you still get sick. Officials say the current virus has mutated, making this year's vaccination less effective. Tests show only 50% of flu virus samples taken match the current influenza strains. Doctors still recommend getting vaccinated since it can still decrease the severity of the illness. Forget about saving for college. No, we don't mean that. A new report, though, does say parents should be saving for child care first. A group that tracks child care issues says the cost can be more expensive than college. The average cost for an infant, $14,500 a year. For a 4-year-old, just more than $12 grand annually. Parents in Massachusetts spend more on infant child care than in any other state. New Yorkers pay less in dollars, but give up a higher proportion of their incomes for infant child care. But college is expensive too.
Oh, you bet. Now, heavy rains have drenched Southern California, breaking the half a dozen records and leaving some areas just covered in mud. Don't believe it? Take a look here. Ooh, dozens of people had to be rescued from cars and homes after becoming trapped in the muddy water. These pictures from Riverside County are near Los Angeles. They show several abandoned cars and SUVs submerged in the mud. The rain is helping with the region's drought, but the flip side, well, flash flooding and mudslides. Here in the Northeast, it's not the mud, but the ice that's causing problems. That's a Blue Angels jet on a runway in Brunswick, Maine there. Watch while the Navy jet taxis. It hits a patch of ice. It's going to fishtail here and just spins off the runway. Fortunately, no one was hurt. The famed Blue Angels are in town for an air show.
Well, time now to check in with Steve for a look at what's next in the Storm Tracker forecast. Steve.
Not scary. Snow tires on a plane, I think. That's what you need. All right.
Chain.
Hey, let's show you what's going on. Close call tonight. We're going to get rid of one to the south of us, but we're not going to be so lucky tomorrow night. The forecast after this.
Here's Chief Meteorologist Steve Caparizzo with your Storm Tracker forecast.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I think after this forecast, you're probably going to want to say, Cappy, get out of town, go back on vacation, right? Don't say that. No, you're stuck with me. All right, here's our next storm threat. Here's the information for tomorrow night. If you're planning on something on a Friday night, the weather's going to be a factor. Snow and sleet arrives, I think, 7 to 9 p.m. around the capital region, sooner south, a little bit later to the north. Now, there might be a quick coating to an inch of snow and sleet before we get periods of freezing rain, especially for the Mohawk Valley north. Now, the trend will be for a changeover to rain, but the ice may persist much of the night, Saratoga Springs northward. So we got to be careful right into early Saturday morning. All right, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, breezy, cold, 21. Mostly cloudy, 31 at noon, and cloudy at 5 p.m., 35, but it's going to be a dry day. You know, temperatures, it's amazing sometimes when you look at the temperatures in New York, you shake your head because there can be so much variability from one spot to the next. Now, we're basically in the 20s here, right? Look at the Adirondacks inlet, 9 degrees there, but there's places that are even colder. Clifton Park, 26, down to 18 at Grafton, 22 in Buskirk. Schenectady, 29, 24 at the Pine Bush. Voorheesville checks in at 26. Now, let's go up to the Adirondacks because this is significant. 0, I repeat, it's 0 at Saranac Lake. 3 around Whiteface, 7 Tupper Lake, Indian Lake, 14 at Scroon. 21 Lake George and around the Great Sacandaga, it's not bad, 27. Head over to Saratoga Springs, it's 24. 17 at Mount Snow, Stratton at 18. 22 West Arlington, 20 in Bennington. Williamstown, 20. 21 in Pittsfield and 24 right now at Great Barrington. High pressure building in for tonight. That's why it's cold. It's cleared right out. This moisture, as we mentioned, heading out to sea. This is not going to miss us. This storm tracking across the Midwest. Some rain now through Oklahoma and Kansas. So this is Friday night and Saturday's storm. I think mainly rain on Saturday. And there could be some steady rain for a while Saturday. Tomorrow, some morning sun, clouding up in the afternoon, but not bad. Now, here comes the moisture during Friday night. So we're going to have, I think, pockets of sleet and snow and some freezing rain even around the capital region before it transitions to mostly all rain on Saturday. So periods of rain Saturday. The back edge, as it moves through Saturday evening, there could be a quick burst of wet snow just before it comes to an end as the cold air comes in. 37 tomorrow, Kinderhook, Albany for highs, 38 at Kingston. Again, basically a dry day. 32 up in the Adirondacks to 34 at Glens Falls. If there's going to be a little snow and sleet later in the afternoon, it would be primarily over the Catskills, mid-30s. 37 at Great Barrington to 35 at Bennington. All right, here's your forecast. Tonight, cold night, down to 20 here, 10 to 15 off to the north, 0 to 5 above in the Adirondacks. Tomorrow, some morning sun, then clouding up, a high of 37. Friday night, that's the mess. Snow, sleet, transitioning to some freezing rain and rain. So tomorrow we'll be able to pin it down who gets what. But not a lot of snow accumulation. Ice I'm a little bit worried about. Periods of rain Saturday, 43. Mostly sunny, breezy Sunday, 33. Partly sunny on Monday, mid-30s. Watching a storm threat for Tuesday with a chance of snow. And then flurries and windy on Wednesday, 29. And Thursday, partly sunny in 32. You want me out of town now after that?
One more day.
One more day. You'll tolerate
We're
me
going to
for
give you one more day.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Steve. Say, who was your favorite James Bond?
Sean Connery. I really liked him.
Yeah, good. I like to see you do weathercasting to Sean Connery, doing that whole thing, you know. But
shaking, not stirring.
Yeah, that's right. Now, no, you like Daniel Craig, and if you do, well, you're all in luck.
Because plans for the newest Bond movie were just revealed, and they include some familiar faces.
But first, here's a look at what's coming up on Jimmy Kimmel Live right after News 10 and 11.
We have in store for tonight. I was looking at the two of us and I thought, what would it be like if that duo hung out together? And that's what it would be like.
You're watching News 10 ABC at 11.
James Bond is back. Details of the next 007 movie are being revealed, including the title. It's being called Spectre. That's the name of the evil organization from early Bond films. This one will be the 24th edition of the world's longest-running film franchise. Bond will be played by Daniel Craig. The villains, and there are two of them, will be played by two-time Oscar winner Christopher Waltz and former wrestler David Bautista. Sam Mendes, the director of the last Bond movie, will direct this one. Filming begins next week. It should hit theaters in about a year.
Wow, Christopher Waltz will be great in that. The Green Mountain State getting in the Christmas spirit, flipping the lights on its state Christmas tree tonight. And that tree's journey began right in our backyard. Last Tuesday, a 32-foot balsam fir from Don Keelan's property in Arlington, that's in Bennington County, was picked up and placed on the steps of the State House in Montpelier. Vermont officials told us that Don had been trying to get one of his many firs at the state Christmas tree for a couple of years now, and that 2014 was Arlington's year. And New York will be lighting its holiday tree this Sunday, and News 10 ABC will be there. Lydia Kobita will be emceeing the event alongside Christina Rangio at the Empire State Plaza. There will be a holiday celebration there all day Sunday, and the lights will be switched on at 5:15, precisely 5:15, with fireworks to follow.
All right, now let's send it over to Liana to find out what's next in sports. Liana.
Hey guys, well, a trip to the national championship game was on the line tonight for the St. Rose women's soccer team. We'll have highlights from Louisville coming up next in sports.
You're watching Liana Bonavita with News 10 ABC Sports.
Welcome back, everyone. When St. Rose won its national title in 2011, the Golden Knights beat the two-time defending national champs. That was Grand Valley State, the same team that's defending its title again this year and standing in the way of St. Rose and a trip to the finals. 40 minutes into the Final Four, Carmelina Popolo finds the back of the net, and the Golden Knights have the early 1-0 lead. That's the same lead at intermission. Second half penalty kick. Ashley Homer makes the initial save, but that ball's live on the rebound, and Grand Valley State ties it up at 1. That would be the score through 2 overtime periods, so we head to penalty kicks. St. Rose already down 1, and what a game by Andrea Strauss. She saves 3 straight PKs, so 1 is the magic number. And Homer gets a piece, but not enough. Grand Valley State advances to the championship game on penalty kicks. Now, from a pair of teams that expect to win championships to one that's just happy to be in the tournament, we turn our focus to the Siena women's volleyball team. It's the Saints' 6th trip to the dance, the first since 2008, and never once have they won a single set, let alone a match. The road will be just as tough this time around, playing Penn State, the defending national champs, but the Saints are hopeful they'll put up a good fight.
Oh, I know they are not afraid. So, you know, their skill level is good. They are ready to play. We have good ball control. Probably the height is not the same than the other team, but we are a very confident team, so we are not scared at all. So we are ready to play, to fight.
Well, that fight will begin at 7:30 tomorrow night. Sticking on campus, former Siena great Edwin Ublis was back at the Arc today. As the only Saint to ever play in an NBA regular season game, he was the perfect person to play on the scout team today as Siena prepares for its conference opener tomorrow.
Having someone of his level is very important because there's not many people who play at his level, so anyone else, it's easy to guard in comparison.
I've seen some young mistakes, as I was practicing with them, but that's gonna happen, with young guys, and hopefully they continue to work hard and continue to listen to the coach, and continue to grow as a person, as a player, to get better.
Ublis says he hopes to be in the stands for the Saints' first conference test tomorrow against Quinnipiac. Meanwhile, the Union hockey team returns to conference play this weekend, and the conference schedule has not been too kind for the Dutchmen so far this year. Union is just 1-4-1 against ECAC opponents, sitting 10th out of 12 teams in the league. The good news for the Dutchmen is that their next opponent, Brown, has an even worse record, but that's not the focus.
I think that we have to win those games. I think no opponent right now is we have to underestimate them because we're not playing the best hockey we can play.
Hopefully we've learned a couple lessons this year with that. The last game at 8-2, not in our favor with Western Michigan. Maybe they looked at their record and felt this is going to be a country club and we'll just throw our sticks at center ice and just kind of play some pond hockey. That's not the case, and it's not going to be the case the rest of the year.
Union has 10 conference games left in the year. Next up is Brown tomorrow night.
Always good for a soundbite, isn't it?
Yeah. Throw those sticks right in the center.
All right, clouding up tomorrow, the morning okay, then clouding up in the afternoon 37, snow, sleet, some freezing rain for a while Friday night, rain Saturday, quiet Sunday, another storm Tuesday.
Okay, thanks so much for joining us.
See you tomorrow. It'll be Friday.
Yeah.